Okay, so I wanted to give you a little syllabus overview, just to help you guys get acclimated to the information that's in our syllabus. This is a description of the class and the objectives. One of the requirements for the class is a specific reading level, so I'm really confident that you guys can read through the objectives on your own. So I'm really going to focus on the other material. So I'm going to scroll. This is my contact information. Here is my email, or you can send me a Canvas message. I also have a direct link to my student office hours. This is a link where you can book an appointment with me, and this is the link where you would access me on Zoom once you've made that appointment. I am also one of the course coordinators, as I said in my intro video. And we've got myself and Professor Vaughn listed here if you need to contact anybody because you are uncomfortable with the progression of the course or how anything is going, then I really encourage you to reach out to both myself and Professor Vaughn. If you're uncomfortable reaching out to me because it's something to do with me, then please reach out to Mr. Vaughn. He will be looking over his email over the summer sporadically. Okay, let's talk about required course materials. We have to use our online homework platform, Alex. You can see that there's like a left-hand button over here in the navigation for you to access it. And you can, all of your online homework will be located in Alex, as well as some unit reviews that should help you prepare some for the test. The other requirement is a TI-84 graphing calculator. It is acceptable to use a TI-83 graphing calculator, but you may want to upgrade if you're able to, because that will allow you to have the most up-to-date software on your calculator. If you have any questions about the calculator, feel free to send me a message. The other thing, because this is an asynchronous online class that we have to have, are computer, tablet with internet, video and audio capabilities, and scanning capabilities. So the first two are a little bit more straightforward. Your computer should, or tablet, should come equipped with video and audio capabilities. We need to be able to do two things. Zoom with one another, because that's required for the exams. And then secondly, I need to be able to have you easily access Canvas and Alex. So Wi-Fi, easily accessible, and a good, like, easy laptop to use, or desktop or tablet, whatever. The scanning capabilities always freaks people out. I don't mean go buy a scanner. I mean, if you have a smartphone, you have a scanner. So in my very first assignment that I ask you to submit, that's a written homework assignment, a lot of people are like, how do I submit written homework online? I've included a little video at the bottom of it if you've never scanned something in, and it's got some recommended apps for you to use that. Since making that video, I will say that a lot of people with iPhones can use the Notes app to turn a picture into a PDF to be able to upload it. Okay, let's keep moving. My dog is a cone head for like the next week. I'm sorry. So he's like very upset in the background. Sorry if you can hear him. Okay. Course communication. I really prefer for people to send me Canvas messages. I will also, because I'm not in my office, so I can't get phone calls. My email address, it also all just goes to Canvas. So I can respond from my email, even if it's a Canvas message. Secondly, I post announcements regularly each week. There'll be an announcement that is a checklist of what you should do each week to be successful in completing all the material for the course. It is a fast-paced course. Please look at my checklist. Not only will I post weekly checklists, but if I think there's pertinent information for the entire class to read, I will put it under announcements, as well as sending a Canvas message. Another thing we need to be ready to have is Zoom. At this point, most of us already have a Zoom account, but if not, then I want you guys to make sure that you download it. And there will be an assignment that prepares you for this before the exam. Okay, let's get into what is required for the class. While it is asynchronous and online, there is still content that I expect you to learn, and there are assignments that I expect you to turn in regularly. The online homework is through the Alex program. You actually can do every problem over again, and you can get 100% on every Alex assignment. There are unlimited attempts on each of these questions, and there are due dates placed throughout the 7-week term to try to keep you up to date with these. For our written homework, we every couple of chapters, usually it's like 1 or 2, I try to collect a written homework assignment. That's where I ask you to take a picture of it and submit it. You do not have to print anything. You can write on a separate sheet of paper and submit this, and I offer feedback, detailed feedback. So what I hope is that people submit their assignments early, and then I can provide feedback, and you can resubmit the assignment on top of it. So I do allow students to resubmit their assignments so that they can earn more credit. Online discussions and activities. We will have a bunch of little online discussions that take place, not using VoiceThread or Padlet, but actually using this app called Hypothesis, and they're in little groups that I've already assigned in Canvas. If you have any issues using Hypothesis, no one ever has, then just contact me and I will help you out with that. VoiceThread is what we use for our introduction video. The last thing on your mind is the final course quiz because it happens in the very last week of the class, but it is a requirement for us because this is a general education course and it is the quiz that measures your results from the class. It will be open in the last week of the class because it does cover all 3 units. So we will get an announcement about that later on in the course. The more important assessments are the unit exams and the final exam. There are 3 unit exams. Each of them will be 70 minutes each, unless you have accommodations, which have been provided to me already. You will be allowed to use your graphing calculator, and these are open note exams. We will do these exams over Zoom, and you will use something called the Hands Eyes Workspace View, where we will practice that before the first exam, so you feel good about it. But I will ask you to record yourself while you take this test. Okay, finally, our final exam, it's already scheduled. You can see the date right here, Thursday, July 24th from 7 to 9 p.m. It's a critically important part of your course grade. It's like a 23% of your final grade in the class. So it does weight heavily and it does cover all 3 units. This is, again, an open note exam, but it will have a 2-hour time frame. We will talk more about that at the end of the course. I know the final exam is an overwhelming concept because it's 23% of your grade, but we do offer a final exam replacement policy. I do grade each of the unit sections individually, and then I compare that to your original unit exam grade, and I will replace the one that affects your grade the most. So this often helps my students at the end of the semester if they've learned from some of the mistakes that they made on their earlier unit exams. And I also leave detailed feedback on the unit exams so that you guys can learn from that as well. Okay, late work policies. I am pretty flexible. I do have due dates for every single assignment, but if there's something that you cannot turn in that's a homework or online activity, just contact me and let me know and we'll work around that. The one thing that I'm really not flexible on are the unit exams and the final exam. The final exam is scheduled for the second to last day of class. There's really no moving the final exam. The unit exams, I can always try to get somebody to take it early or on campus, but because this is a summer course, we probably do not have a virtual testing center, and I will be the only virtual proctoring option. So I really want you guys to be taking that into consideration and really thinking around your schedule and trying to choose a time with me or having access to campus if you want to test in person. Okay, finally, how do we find our grade in the class? All of your online homework is worth 15%. So that's your Alex grade. That's why it's so important to be redoing those assignments to try to get 100% in that category. Your written homework, those are your discussions, your written homework that I ask you to submit, and any of the individual activities that I ask you to do online in the meantime, that's also worth 15% of your grade. And those I do allow you guys to resubmit after I've provided feedback as well. The final course quiz that I talked about earlier, 2% unit exams, each one is 15% of your grade. There are 3 of them, so that's a total of 45%. And then your final exam is 23% of your grade. So a good chunk of your grade does come from the exams, which is why I want you to do as well as possible on these homework assignments and try to beef those grades up. The only thing that really matters in our grading scale is that we round up. If you end up with a 69.5 at the end of the semester, that's a C. A 69.4 is a D. Okay, so we will round that up. That is implying that an 89.5 is no different grade-wise than a 99. Okay, they both will give you an A grade in the class. It is crucially important that we abide by the academic integrity policy of the college. This is an asynchronous class. You will be tempted to cheat. That is why I provide such often and extensive feedback. There's really no reason to cheat if I'm the one who's telling you that you're right or wrong, and then I'm letting you resubmit something to get ready for the exam. The crucial thing comes if we push all this off and we wait until right before the exam and try to cram that information in. That is when we feel the need to cheat to get through everything. So I would recommend that you not cheat. If you use AI, I will be able to notice that and I will give you a 0 on the assignment and ask you to resubmit it. So there's there are also consequences for cheating on the exam. So I'll be filming you the entire time. So we can talk about that if you ever breach that code of conduct. I'm really also a proponent of talking about diversity, equity, and inclusion in all of my classrooms. I feel like we often think about this as racial diversity and socioeconomic diversity, but that's not really what I mean. I mean that if in the very first sentence of my intro in the syllabus, I talk about the classes that people come from to be placed into statistics. Some people are placed directly into statistics. Some people have taken several classes before this just to be able to get to statistics because they needed that prerequisite knowledge. What we don't want to do is make an assumption that every single person in your online group has the same ability as you. And what we don't do is judge anybody for their ability. We're just going to operate like we're all on an even keel, and we need to treat everybody with respect. And that's really what this statement means to me. Down at the bottom, you can read all the institutional policies. Again, I'm not too worried about that. I am more focused on the fact that you guys now have gotten through the syllabus and you can take your syllabus quiz. Good luck.